Welcome back, guys. So today I'm going to teach you how to achieve this elegant yet affordable hairstyle with just one bundle of darling synthetic hair and then a mixture of human hair and fiber hair. 3 bundles. So I hope it is going to be easy. Make sure that you keep practicing as usual. I'm going to see you in next episodes of the tutorial. Do stay tuned and don't forget to give me a like if you like this video, and please subscribe if you want to see more beauty videos. Thank you and keep watching. So here I am with my permed hair, and first off I'm brushing my hair or combing it to smoothing, and then I'm going to do cornrows at my back. And the first thing I do is to part my hair into sections at my back in that order, and then I keep away all the other hairs with a ribbon. Then I'm going to start doing the cornrows by sectioning a part and then dividing it into 3 and braiding it along. So I have 1 row of cornrow. Then I'm going to continue to do another row, but this time around I'm making sure that the first row that I did, I will join it with the second row so that I don't have too many strands when I am done with the cornrow. So as you can see, I am joining the first row to the second whilst I'm doing the braiding on the second row, and then I'll braid it alongside till I will be done. So in that way I won't have a lot of strands or cornrow strands when I am done. So I did it all together till I was done with the second row, and then on my third row I joined the second row to the third row. So you get a drill, right? This is just to prevent too many strands of cornrows when you are finally done. So I braided it along until I was done. If you don't know how to do a cornrow, I have done cornrow tutorial step by step in my shorts, so you can check it out. So this is how it is looking like. Then for the rest of my hair, because it's a center part leave out, I'm going to section my hair into the sections that I want, or the parts that I want it to be left out. So I'm keeping this center part away, and I'm going to section my sides, both my left and my right sides. And you don't have to section like too many hair, just a few, and then you should be good. So for the rest of my hair, I'm going to braid it down into smaller sections, or let me say moderate sections, okay, because I really want the hair to be full, so I didn't rush it through at all. So that is how I am doing it. And the same thing I did at the back, I'm joining the first strand to the second strand or the second row so that I don't have a lot of strands when I'm done. I continued to do it until I was done with the last bit of the row, and then I braided it down all the way to my back. So this is how it is looking like, and you can see that I only have 2 strands left. Okay, if I hadn't joined them together, it would have been something else. So I'm using thread and needle to thread it down, and then I cut it and I made a knot so that it will not ravel on me. And you can do the knot so many times. I did about 5 times or so. So this is how our foundation is looking like. This, like a template that we are going to use. Okay, now with my synthetic hair, because it is not a human hair or mixtured hair, I'm going to have to straighten it. And with my bundles, I'm using 22 inches and 18 inches, and because the synthetic hair is going to be at my back, I am going to measure it with the 18 inches, and then I will cut it so that I have the same size or almost the same size as the 18 inches. So because I'm going to crochet it, I divided the hair into 2 before I cut. And then I'm going to stretch the hair, and with the stretching, the basic approach is to divide and cross, divide and cross, divide and cross. So that's the trick. And then when I was done, I combed through and I trimmed away all the unnecessary parts, and then I used the hair tie to tie it and pinned it on my mannequin. Okay, so you can see that this first part is like straightened than the other one. So I'm going to do the same thing at the other side, and I'm using this straightener. So I'm actually straightening it on a very low heat because it's synthetic hair. So if you put it on high heat, it's going to burn. So make sure that your straightener or your flat iron is on low heat. So I'm sectioning it also in smaller sections, okay, so that I achieve the silkiness that I want, so that it will mimic something like a human hair, until I was done with everything. So when I was done, I started crocheting the synthetic hair at the parts where I did the cornrows at my back, like in a horizontal way. Okay, so with the crocheting, I also made 2 knots. So you see that for a regular crochet braid, you usually do 1 knot, but over here I did 2 knots so that it will be very, very secure, because it's going to endure a lot of combing, a lot of so I have to make sure that the knots are stable and secured. So that's why I'm doing 2 knots. So I filled them very, very close to each other so that I get the fullness I want. If you don't want it to be full, you can maintain your horizontal corn rows, maybe 2 rows instead of 3 rows, but I wanted it to be a little full at the back there. So I filled the 2 rows and then a quarter of the 3rd row. Then I went in with my 18 inches. I'm going to use just one bundle here. You will see when I'm done. So this is how the full bundle looks like. And it is divided into two. It's actually 2 wefts. So I'm just going to sew it together just at the tip there, and over here you can see that I only did a quarter of the 3rd row. So I'm going to continue from there, and then I'll sew it down with the 18 inches of the hair. And with the sewing, when you are starting, make sure that you are tying a knot to secure the sew. Okay, anytime you are sewing, make sure that you are tying the knot to secure it. So you can do it like 3 times so that it doesn't remove whilst you are wearing the extension. You get it? Okay. One thing I've also realized about sewing extension down is when your thread is very, very long, you will actually suffer. You'll be encountering so many knots in the process. So make sure that you are making the thread as short as possible, not too short that you are going to run out, but then something that is reasonable so that you don't have to struggle. And over here you can see that I am flipping the hair onto the other side so that I don't have to do too many cuts to my extension, because I'm going to be using the extension again. So I flip it over instead of cutting it and then putting it on my hair to sew. So that's how I'm doing it. You can see that I'm also flipping it over at this side and then sewing it down using the same process. And for every end that I reach, I make sure that I make a knot so that it will be very, very stable. So I only cut this part, and this is how it's looking so far. So I'm going to continue the rest of the sewing with my 18 inches, my 22 inches, and I'm going to sew it down for all the rest of the hair. And this is how we are looking like. So I'm continuing from the side where it is almost near my leave out, and this is how far the Lord has brought us. So I'm actually cutting this side, and this is how it's looking like. I've tied the back. That's how it is looking like that. So I continue to fill it up until we got here. And when I got here, I realized that that space there is not enough for me to really sew down. So instead, I measured the remaining space, and then I used glue to apply onto the weft that I measured, and then I sticked it onto the space that is left, okay, so that I will have the fullness that I want, because the leave out is not much. So I had to make sure that the extension is closer to the leave out as much as possible. And you see that you realize I used 2 wefts, and then I'm using my blow dryer to dry it on a very low heat so that the glue would really, really stick and last longer. So even if I sweat there, because the glue is stick down, it's not going to come off. So this is how it is looking completely. You can totally see that it's only the leave out that is left, and we are going to work on the synthetic hair. You see that it's even longer because I stretched it. It is longer than the extension, so I'm going to cut it to the length of the extension, and I'm combing it through to really make sure that I'm doing the right thing. And I'm using the scissors to cut it in slants way, and because I don't want it to be too blunt, that's why I'm cutting it like this. You can cut it into blunt, but this is how I wanted it, because I wanted it to mimic the extension. So I did the same thing for the other side, and then I cut it like that. So when I was done, this was how it was looking like, and I love the outcome. So I'm going to stick into this one. So a little dance over there. So I went ahead to do my makeup. That's why I'm in another dress. So even though I did straighten it from the beginning, especially with the synthetic hair, I'm going to do it all over again. I just want it to be as smooth as possible, because it's going to endure a lot of combing and stuff. So I need to make sure that when I am brushing through, I won't face any difficulties, because you know synthetic hair can be a little troublesome if you don't handle it well. And the only way to handle it well and proper is to use flat iron as much as possible. And I'm using it in small sections. So when I was done totally, I went ahead to do the rest of the extension, and I went into smaller sections again. You can use a bigger flat iron to save time, but this is what I have, and it is working. So baby, why change it? If I get another one, I'll buy it anyway. So this is how it's looking like. You can see that I am feeling myself already. So I'm putting the hair at my back, and then I'm going to work on my leave out. And because it's a center part, I'm going to divide it into 2, and I'm using my glue to clean the part. If you have relaxed hair fresh, you can decide to not use any glue to clean out the part. So I sectioned and straightened the leave out, all of it from both my left and my right side, and so that it blends perfectly with the extension. So I'm using Jocelyn hair wax stick to tame all the flyaways and also lay my hair flat onto the extension so that my hair doesn't become too bulky, and also remove any extra flyaways. And then I use gel to slick my edges and use a tail comb to just kind of push it back. And this is the release section, so I'm just trying to flat iron my natural hair to the extension so that it blends completely. And then I combed it out, and baby girl, this is how far we have gone. It is looking so nice, guys. I hope this was very simple. I really hope it was simple. This is how it's looking like. It's full. I like the fullness. You can actually bring it to the side, and this is how it's looking like. This is how the back is also looking like. I hope this hair is very, very simple. It's affordable as well. Please do give me a like and also subscribe if you love my beauty content. I also would be very excited to have you here. Thank you, and do have a wonderful day. Love ya. Bye.